Welcome, everyone, to Cosmic Vespers number 6.
Mm.
So for half a year, we've been offering these, and they they ignite my soul. Let me say it that way. And I hope you've been able to get something that serves you as well. Um, we have changes in the wind, which we'll say a little bit about. And tonight is what is it? It's kind of a combination of Kwanzaa and Christmas and solstice all together, because the theme is wonder and light, but it's going to be sort of a popcorn experience of information and soul food. So that said, I'd like to turn it over to Mary Ann, who's going to introduce the changes.
Thanks, Penny. I'm going to share a screen with you. I'm going to try to share a screen with you. Here we go. Because I want to show you what's happening with our, and explain why we're changing. So I can't move it, but this is what I want. How's that?
Okay. There you go.
Got it?
Yeah.
You can see. Okay. So we're making some changes. I guess mostly what precipitated it is that Gail Ransom, who is usually here with us and who has always been at Global Kinship, she is at a transition point after 8 years of doing what has become Global Kinship. And she was there through physical duress and personal life changes and the birth of grandbabies. And she has realized that she needs to step aside. And so Penny and Bob are graciously going to continue Global Kinship and also Cosmic Vespers. And I'm very pleased to help with Cosmic Vespers, but less frequently. But what we're going to keep, what I want you to remember mainly is that it's going to be first Thursday. Global Kinship was first Thursday. It's going to be first Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern time, which is when Global Kinship always was. Having said that, January brings the first change, because the first Thursday is January 2nd. Nobody wants to resume work on January 2nd. So we're delaying that as we did last year for 1 week. Okay, and that's going to give you this overview. What's happening? We are doing, as you can see, Global Kinship and Cosmic Vespers. But we're also adding something called Global Dreaming, and that'll be with Robin Hubbard. And I just really think these are all exploring different aspects of the same realm, heavy on the noosphere, heavy on cosmology, heavy on spirituality, heavy on the 4 paths. Penny will tell you more about it. And this, we kind of been calling it dream, pray, act, because we've got the dreaming, this is sort of what I consider praying. And then kinship is always like, who's acting and how are they acting to create the ecozoic? So you see the schedules right there. We've got it established, and you'll just register for the free link, spread the word. And the first Thursday, which is not first Thursday, January 9th, will be the overview of what's coming. Everybody will present a little bit. And I'm going to get in on this one time because I've been doing eight virtual labyrinth walks that are earth-centered and cosmic centered, equinoxes, solstices, and then the cross-quarter days, which humans created. And that's on May 1st. And I said, CSC really shouldn't present 2 things in one day, like in an afternoon and an evening. What are you going to do? Move in with us? So we're going to, I'm going to present that day. And if you haven't come to a virtual labyrinth walk, I really, really hope you do. I think you might enjoy it. So Penny, do you think that covers the bases? kind of. And this will be on our fabulous new website. Do I need to show them the website?
No, no.
No. Okay.
Just
Anything else you want to
Marianne,
add?
Marianne, just for clarity, I just want to make sure, um, next to January 9th, it says First Thursday's overview. But
Mhm.
is that not a global kinship?
I, I don't know what it's being called, but it's going to provide the overview of these things. So you two are organizing it. You call it what you wish.
Sorry, that's a change I didn't know. Okay, sorry.
No.
And
It
Right,
may not be changed, Bob. Anything else?
that's
can I ask a question about time? So 4 o'clock Eastern, so we're shifting to earlier in the day. Is it?
that's
Global kinship has always been earlier in the day, and we're trying it for everything. We're hoping that I don't know. If it's a terrible time, let us know and we can make some adjustments. But
No, I just wanted to clarify because most stuff I have is in my calendar for 4, I think.
perfect.
I mean
and
Pacific time.
yeah, so it'll be 7 Pacific. Is that Katie?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can't see you. I can just hear you.
It'll be
It'll be
2.
1,
Oh, 1.
Yeah,
Pacific,
one.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
3 hour difference and 2 o'clock Mountain and 3 o'clock Central and 4 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha. Thanks for asking. Any other burning questions? Otherwise, we're going to get to the meat of tonight. And we really hope you spread the word and you continue to join us because you are what you make this happen. Well, Penny makes it happen.
Everybody
Aw.
does.
We are creation spirituality communities, right?
Mhm.
Okay, Bob, Tech Talk.
Aha. Where's my, there we go. So as always, the actual tech part of our talk is pretty simple. Other, so tonight there's a little bit of a twist. We're asking people during our introductory ritual with Carol Kilby to go ahead and leave yourselves unmuted because there'll be a reason why. But after that, we ask that you keep yourselves muted so as not to create distractions for everybody else. And if there's a point where you need to raise a question, look at your reaction button, react button on the Zoom toolbar. Under there, the words raise hand, and that'll put you at the front of the queue on our graphic. The other thing I do want to mention is Penny's asked me to mention this fact. We do have an email list that's been going for the bulk of the year to stay in touch around topics that we're discussing here. And if you are not on that list, it's called Cosmogenesis 24. If you're not already on that list, all you need to do is send me an email, and there's my email address. And it just asked me to put you on that list. We use the free version of that list, and so I can't add you directly. We send you an invitation, and you simply reply to that invitation, and it adds you there. So, yeah, that's all I think I need to say there, unless there's any questions.
All right. Well, we're very excited and pleased to open tonight with a ritual from Carol Kilby, who is in the process of developing an entire book full of rituals related to the cosmos and our place in the cosmos. And with that, I would invite you all, where possible, please be on camera, at least for this part. You can revert back to, yeah, thank you, as you need to off screen afterwards. Carol?
Thanks, Penny, Bob, Marianne, and everyone for joining us in this creation spirituality community play sandbox. It's so good to be together. Oh my goodness. Here we are in another virtual meeting in a virtual world, actually. And I'm reminded that anytime I traveled out of my little world in the past, you know, I've entered a new world where I've had to learn perhaps a new language, even new manners. And the reality is that in this time, you and I have been born into an emerging world. So here we are, and we have zoomed. We have zoomed to this otherworldly place called Cosmic Vespers. And so for this emerging time, and actually for our own emergence, we're going to enter a ritual called Celebration of Emerging Light. And before I share my screen, I thought I would offer these instructions to make it as doable as possible. So to begin, I want you to just look at the screen and see as many faces and names as you can possibly see, and go over those and pick out 2 or 3 names above, below, beside you, or someone you know, someone you don't know. And remember those names, or actually write them down. We want you to be naming each other's names as we go through this ritual. So just write down 2 or 3. And after you've done that, reach for a candle if you have one handy. It may be a birthday candle, it may be a Christmas candle, maybe an emergency candle. So reach for a candle. Shelley's ahead of us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And if you have no candle, no worries. Just recall the sun that grew the food that you ate for supper. Just recall the supernova that seeded the stardust of a living planet of which you are an expression. And call on your inner light, and you can hold it up if you like. You know, my little light. That's the second instruction, and you'll be lighting that candle, if you haven't already, which is fine, with Penny when she begins this ritual. And then the next part of the instruction is to follow the prompts that you'll see on your screen now. And okay, and I'll just take a moment to add you folks back to my screen. So we'll be following the prompts. And for example, we'll see a screen like this, and you will be called on. Penny, for example, is going to call on somebody at the end of her prompt. And we'll say, your name will have been said, and then we will respond by saying where we are, just one part of the location, you know, whether it's the village or a city or a province or a state, a bioregion, or maybe you want to name the indigenous, traditional, the indigenous lands that you are on.
He has to do this? God, it'll be forever.
All right, and then we will have heard our name, responded by saying thank you and where we are, read the prompt on the screen, and then pass the light. I'm going to pass the light to Gary Kenny, for example. Okay, those are the instructions, and I think it'll make itself clear as we go through after the first one.
Starts, not you.
Now, we'll get to a point in this ritual where there won't be a light that to name, and you might want to name something for yourself, a light that you're seeing or a light that you feel the world needs. Or you can just say your name and pass the light. Okay. With that, I invite you to
We're going to remember everybody.
take a breath, and it's good not to talk together too much, Deborah and Gary, because I'm hearing everything you're saying, and so
Sorry.
is everyone else. So here we go. Penny's going to light her candle, and we'll begin.
Welcome. I am Penny, host of Cosmic Vespers. I'm in the bioregion of the Great Lakes, also called the Unsalted Coast. We may never have met in person and maybe never will, and yet we're part of the same cosmic human energy project. I'm lighting this candle to celebrate the creative energy from which we come. I pass the light to Marianne.
Thank you, Penny. I'm in Monacan lands in the Blue Ridge ecoregion of Central Virginia. And this candle's light, communicating in space and through space via a powerful global communication network, is creating this virtual living room, not separated, isolated, or anonymous. We are energetically connected. I'm past the light to Herman Bracey. Is Herman here? Did Herman leave? Okay, I will pass the light to Juliette Jacques.
Oh, I had my mic off. I'm Herman.
Okay.
I'm Herman Bracey. I'm in San Francisco, California. This is the traditional lands of the Ohlone. Like lunar moths to a porch light, we draw to the brilliance of a new sacred story. It's not a light we find on every porch. Here we can feel known. We can speak our name and claim our space in this vast cosmic communion. I pass the light to Paul Taylor.
Thank you, Herman. I'm in Laramie, Wyoming, and I'm in the Valley of the Thunder Beings for the Lakota people. This story of oneness is one of the bright lights of this dying year. It reminds us to see one another not as different strangers or threats, but as co-creators, mentors, and companions on our way to a new time. I pass the light on to Katie.
Thank you, Paul. Wait, my screen just switched. Okay, thank you. My name is Katie Bull, and I'm in the traditional lands of the Gabrielina people who call themselves Tongva. We are the Chaparral Mediterranean bioregion, as well as in Encino, California, in the United States, part of the Los Angeles area. Unlike the media, let's not forget the places and people suffering the destructive effects of climate change, political disappointment, or illness. Let's send transforming light to wherever there's pain in our environmental family. I pass the light to Maria Julia Ruggier.
Okay.
Sorry, we're
Am I-
not hearing you. You might be muted.
Yeah, I'm okay now. My name is Maria Julia Rogier. I live in the city of North Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I suppose the light indicates that we are one, although we seem to be so many. I suppose we'll be one in the future, will be seen one in the future. And this light then as a signification for this for the future. I wish everybody happiness, and I wish everybody peace.
Mm.
And I pass this candle to Ken.
Sorry, you passed that to who, please?
Ken.
I
We're
don't
not,
think Ken.
we're not hearing you. You might be muted.
I think Ken might have left.
Oh, okay. Karen.
Thank you, Katie. I'm located in La Crosse, Wisconsin, land of the Ho-Chunk, right near the Mississippi River in Wisconsin. Learning from past generations, let us remember the great forest, the great coral reefs, great mammals, and the least among us, all the environmentally threatened species, peoples, places. In the future, may there be light. I pass this light to Lee.
Did
might
you
be-
see
That
Leo?
might be me, Leo.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm also in Wisconsin, land of the Ho-Chunk and Menominee. I live in central Wisconsin, in Stevens Point. And the light which traveled billions of light years is essentially the infinite potential that first flared forth. It is the essence of possibility within us in this moment of emergence. May we have courage to follow the light of the star.
Mm.
And I pass this light now to Shelley Gilchrist.
Thank you, Leo. My name is Shelley Gilchrist. I live in Minnesota, Forest Lake, Minnesota, which isn't too far from Menominee, actually. I live on Anishinaabe land, and I see here that my script has disappeared. So I will speak to my heart, from my heart. And that is that this light for me represents a desire for hope to be rekindled in myself and in all of us, that we grasp for energy
Mm.
to continue to share our light. And I certainly need it. With that, and with Thanksgiving for this group, I pass the light to Sally.
I don't see a Sally. Is there a Sally here?
I thought there was
No, she must have left.
Oh dear. I pass the light to Bob.
You know I'm here.
I do.
I am Bob. I reside in on the traditional lands of the Huron-Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and the Mississaugas of the Credit, on the shores of Lake Ontario. Without a candle, I will invoke the light of the great flaring forth, which calls us to oneness in the new story. And I will pass the candle to Rockwell Ward.
Thank you, Bob. My wife, Marion, and I are in the extremely least populated county in eastern United States, one of the least populated in Western Virginia. And we live here part-time because of the lights in the sky. It's one of the darkest skies in the eastern United States. And we live under the light of the stars with our telescopes. And each of us are unique and named expressions of light. We are the cosmos celebrating, gathering to share ideas, ask questions, to join genius to genius and light to light. So be it. Now, in the light of our opening, let's take a minute to feel how we feel, to invite any words that need to drop into our consciousness to drop in silence. Write them in the chat. And I'll pass it on to Sarmeet.
Well, Sargmeet, you will invite your light and anyone else to raise their light. Simply name your name, and then we will stop in silence. Thank you.
My name is Sarmeet Kanwal, and I come from New Jersey, the land of the Lenape, also called the Delaware people. Thank you.
I'm Margie Abbott, and I'm in Australia, in Wathaurong country, and I pass the light to whoever is warmed up to go next.
That's
My
me.
name is, go ahead, Juliet.
Thank you. I'm in Arizona. I'm Juliet. I pass the light for healing for everyone.
Thank you.
My name is Disa.
And I'm Jan.
From St. Louis. And we hold this light to honor everyone as stars of wonder.
Mm.
And I pass the light to ever who has not spoken yet.
Thank you. I am Vivian, and I reside in Waterdown, Ontario, very close to Lake Ontario. And we are on the land of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee. Grateful for all of our ancestors who have inhabited this land. And I pray for reconciliation with our indigenous peoples, our native peoples. So I pass the light to anyone else who may be in the cold, in darkness, and they're coming toward the light as we celebrate Advent.
Benny, I'm going to ask you to take up that light.
Thank you all for bringing your voices and your hearts to our circle. And if you have any other words to share, especially those who didn't get to speak, please write them in the chat so we can honor what wants to come forth from our circle. Thank you so much, Carol. That was exquisite. And it was so good to hear the voices and the different tribes and the different accents. And here we all are in this Zoom room together. All right. Well, as promised, this is the popcorn part of our, I call it Cos Talk. KOS for Cosmic and Talk. A la Dharma talk in the Buddhist tradition, a la sermon in a Christian tradition. And it's just because we're living into this time that is so extraordinarily rich with information. You know, skip Zoom, much of what we're talking about could not have been known in some of our parents' lifetime, but certainly our grandparents. So we are living into an unfolding understanding of who we are and what is. And as such, we're catching up. But in the hodgepodge notion of this night, Bob, would you share screen 1 or sheet?
Sure thing.
A dear friend and someone who has studied with Brian and took the cosmogenesis class and is very, very interested in perhaps a light to come because she's facing some retirement. This was her inclusion in her solstice card. So it came in this beautiful color cutout. And then on the back side, Bob, slide 2. Were these 9 facts about the universe. And what's very exciting about them, not only are the facts themselves, but they also point to a website I never knew about that seems like a great resource. It's put out by the BBC. And I encourage everybody who's interested in learning more to go there. I'm wondering if Barbara Schwartzbach and Shelley would mind reading first one and then the second. Shelley take number 2, then Barbara, the facts for us. Are you game?
Yep.
Of course.
Okay, let's go.
Am I supposed to start? It's Barbara.
Yes.
Okay,
Barbara.
sorry. 9. Thank you for sharing this. 9 mind-blowing facts about the universe. There's a supermassive black hole at the heart of every galaxy. Am I supposed to keep reading?
No, Shelley's
Okay.
next.
Okay, sorry.
The universe has the same temperature everywhere.
Barbara?
Oh, okay, every other, sorry. 90% of the universe is invisible.
The universe was born.
Most of the stuff in the universe has repulsive gravity.
The sun is producing only a third of neutrinos expected.
Most planetary systems are different from ours.
The first gravitational waves detected came from a binary black hole system nobody predicted.
We appear to be alone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to explore these, just go to that Sky at Night magazine and see what can unfold there. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
Is it a safe place?
The universe was born. And it takes us to this place of wonder and awe, and we'll be saying more about that in a little bit. But I want to talk here about this understanding that is growing in me, and I may be a very beginner in this, but I recently took a course offered by Fritjof Capra on systems of living, the systems theory of living systems. And what happened was, simultaneously in another corner of the world, Brian Swim said this. He said that the universe unfolded and was very good at making rocky planets, and then let the rocky planets use their own creativity to unfold its future and its emergences. So, Bob, if you would, slide 3. He's distilled his work, and it's from multiple disciplines. He's a physicist. Those darn physicists, Sarmeet, they get into things and they want to help us make sense of it. And so here is the distillation of what Fritjof Capra came up with. Life organizes itself in networks, holons, through connection, through relationship. That is such an essential piece of information. And it is only new information since, I believe, the 1930s, when systems theory started to be born. But it wasn't without systems theory and making things in relationship, that all of a sudden things like complexity theory and chaos theory could come about. And it added such great dimension to our understanding, because prior to that, science was looking at things linearly. And all of a sudden we could walk into the world of the nonlinear and have all kinds of insights break open. So life organizes itself through connection. I'd like to share something called connections. Every time we take a breath, we become the universe. The very moment of creation is contained in us and passes on to rocks and trees, animals and fish. The old ones say the essence of life is in water and wind, earth and breath, fire and bone, but most of all in breath, our first connection to the elk, the hawk, the bear, and the buffalo. Without breath, no connection. Without connection, no creation. Without creation, no breath. This is the sacred circle of life, unbroken. The second principle is that life is inherently regenerative. What that means is a system's waste is another system's food. And of course, as we unfolded as a species, for much of it, we understood this because that's how we lived. And we've forgotten it. And a living system requires regeneration. Number 3, life is inherently creative. And for those of you who have been around Brian Swim's work, you know that he says the universe is 100% generative. And formerly, in another life, he said it was 99.9% creative, but he's moved it to the broader speaking. So in other words, as above, so below. Earth is inherently creative. We are inherently creative. And number 4, life is inherently intelligent. And from that, he pulls from cognitive psychology, and what that is trying to say is that if an organism responds to their environment, they are cognitively aware. It's an interesting twist, and it broadens a concept a lot. And it also takes us to that truth that everything is 13.8 billion years old and has spent a lot of time honing its intelligence. Okay, Bob. All right. So I commend, Fritjof started in the 60s and studied the Eastern traditions and has gone about creating this integration that is meant to be a teaching tool for us all. He's trained 8,000 people. It's being offered next year. He's in his mid-80s now. So this probably won't happen as it is much longer. These are the waning years of this, but I highly recommend it. It's called Systems of Life by Fritjof Capra and the Capra Course. Okay, so I mentioned Eastern thinking, and I'd like very much to offer 2 words that our English language doesn't have the equivalent of. And one I've talked about before, and the other one is brand new, hot off the presses, to me, ancient otherwise. The first one is the word Hugin. And the word Hugin has to do with that sense of deep awe in our interior when we contemplate the mystery of life. It's a Japanese word. It's that, in some regards, it's like the via negativa, in that when we are taken into an awe of perhaps the night sky somewhere in Virginia, where we just go speechless. That is Yugen. The other word is Chinese. And that word is Yu Zhao. And Yu Zhao it contains the vastness, the idea of the vastness of the universe, but it's so much more. It's the vastness and the aliveness. And you can see we don't have equivalent words in our culture. So it's where we need to draw from these other cultures that have thought about it a lot longer and a lot more expansively. And they've written it down. It is an empirical fact that the birthplace of the stars is now always everywhere. A quantum particle burst, blossoming out and flaring starlight. where the mysterious fabric of gravity tightens. The more we know about it, the more wondrous it becomes, and we can see through knowing to the question that remains. Being, shadowy being, somehow ablaze with itself here, even after thinning and cooling for nearly 15 billion years. This is the cosmos that modern science describes as space-time, a mysterious gravity-flexed fabric of continents and oceans, stars and galaxies, black holes and dark matter. Space-time is an uncannily literal translation of Yu Zhao, one of the ancient China's foundational cosmological concepts. Yu comes to mean breath spreading free beneath the canopy of heaven. Zhao recognizes the cosmos as an all-encompassing present, a constant burgeoning forth to which we belong wholly. And so the cosmos as a generative self-emergent tissue. It is our seed time home. Combined, Yu and Zhao describe the two dimensions that weave together to form this cosmos as a tissue of breath-emergent transformation. Vast and deep, everything and everywhere, including all the depths of our mental realm. This being is always moving and changing. It is alive somehow. Existence tissue, magically, mysteriously, inexplicably alive. It is whole, but not complete, never complete. Instead, it is pregnant through and through, subjective and objective realms, a single generative tissue, all dynamic energy in personal transformation. This is the cosmos, infused with an awesome sense of wonder and the sacred. There seems no other way to say it. For each of the 10,000 things, including everything that happens in the mind, seems to be miraculously burgeoning forth from a kind of emptiness at its own heart. And at the same time, it is always a burgeoning forth from an emptiness at the very heart of the cosmos itself. Our cultural assumptions tell us in so many ways that we are humans and fundamentally other than nature, that we are not kindred, and that separation has led to the instrumental and exploitative relationship. If there is any hope, it must begin with a renewed sense of kinship between human, earth, and cosmos. Those are the words of David Hinton, a scholar and a Buddhist. I recommend his work to you. So, in a moment now of taking it in and celebrating yet one more wonder, we'll move into the song Water is Life. And I want to loop back to that solstice card because I offered that. I have never thought of putting a picture of the history of the universe and these fun facts on the back to send to my friends and my family. And yet what a wonderful idea, and what a grand offering it was to open the card and see that there. So for your consideration at this dark yet light time of the year. And now, Bob, our song?
All right, second, please. Well, welcome to my day of technology.
It mimics very closely all of our days with technology.
Well, YouTube is deciding it doesn't want to do a full screen,
That's okay.
so maybe we do without.
Just want to say I have deep appreciation for everything everyone does behind the scenes. So thank you in advance.
He said it's not a song, it's a way of life. It's a forever thing, it's a message. He said you can say that water is life. You can sing it again and again, but will they listen? Are we gonna stand by these words? Are we gonna find a way to change the way we're living Mother Earth? She feels everything and it hurts. Like the moon, like the body of a woman, she is changing. Can we return to the times when water was alive? When we prayed at her edge and gave thanks for this life? When the water fell from the sky and we drank from her bosom? When the water fell from our eyes and the water fell from our wombs? When it rose up to the surface and we knew every spring? No fear or competition, just a relative to a face. We are people of the sun, we are people of the water. We will celebrate our sons, we will celebrate our daughters. Give them ceremony so when the drought comes they'll be ready. Will the next war be for water? All our solutions are part of the problem, can't win war with war. There is more than one creation story. Worlds have died and worlds have been reborn before. When you touch the water, you touch the world. From Taos Peaks to Gulf Streams, the memories they hold. We sell her by the acre foot and treat her as our captive. The rivers are undrinkable while the aquifer's extracted. Our food will need water to grow, but do you have to take it all? We try to hold her and control her as we watch our empire fall. He said it's not a song, it's a way of life. It's a forever thing, it's a message. He said you can say that water is life. You can sing it again and again, but can you live it?
Watching, hoping, praying that this time it becomes fallen, as done by their grandmothers, grandfathers, long ago, when they spoke with animals, their smoke still floating, touching the morning prayers. Grandfathers, grandmothers, sons and daughters, me, us, the mountains and animals, covered with the morning pollen.
Well, and I've lost my controls.
Let us take 5 minutes now in silence. If you have a pen and pencil and would care to respond to your experience of Yugen or Yu Zhao, this would be a really good time to do that. If you want to move or sit in silence, and whatever this 5 minutes wants to be for you, we'll rejoin in 5 minutes. And slowly, as you feel ready, bring yourself back. I'm wondering if there are any words or sharings right now that want speaking.
I can go. When you said these words, and both of them contained vast and vastness. That I think you had said vast breath and vast. I can't remember the other, but so yesterday I gave a labyrinth presentation to by far my most difficult audience, and that's junior high kids. And so I was in deep meditation in the morning before, just wanting it to really touch them, not, and that they get a part of this, and because their world is so crazy. And that's what came to me, but it was vast love and vast energy in the morning. Like that was my intention. And I think that vastness of having to spread my arms greater, or our arms greater than ever before, and to go deeper than ever before through the present moment, through these times, really is speaking to me. And needing the energy, vast energy to do it. Thank you.
Bob.
Yes.
Bob's reflection.
Thanks, Penny. Here we go. So this has really been a beautiful synchronicity about this evening, and it's led me to reflect on how incidents and lessons that happen to us through life weave themselves together to create us, to create who we are in this time and place. And so the theme of light was very much with me recently, and it sprang forth when I heard what Carol was going to be offering us tonight, and it led me back to a time. It was a combination of things. I guess I'll show you the image that came to me and resonated so strongly with me, and I'm sure with many of you will be familiar with this. The light in you lives also in me. And this came to me at a time, not in these exact words, when I was, it's probably 28 or 30 years ago. I was quite active in a Christian church here in downtown Toronto. And it happened on a particular Sunday morning. In the middle of a normal church gathering, one of the members of the congregation began to exhibit signs of distress. And first very quiet, then it became much more energized and much more painful, obviously. And at first, a couple of the people near her tried to find some way to provide comfort, to see what they could do to aid her. A staff member became aware and came over and sat next to her and counseled her a bit. But I became very aware that the very presence of the people in the pews around were exhibiting a tangible, very, very present force that of comfort and caring, without knowing what the problem was, without knowing what was creating all this pain. But I was aware of that sensation, and eventually it resolved peacefully. Her feelings calmed. Staff member accompanied her to a quiet space, and the morning went on. But this was a distinct moment, unexpected, unplanned, intended, in the middle of what is usually a pretty formal and pretty structured Sunday morning gathering. And so when I, later in life, in the years intervening, started expanding my spiritual perspectives, including Buddhist thought, this is one of the phrases that came to me. But it so has been with me tonight as we reflect on light in all its many forms. But in particular, I think what is with me tonight is the way we are light to each other. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob. So this would be a time for emergent dialogue if we choose to. And it sort of speaks to whatever's on your heart and what may be arising. But it's a new way of engaging with ourselves and each other. And it's a practice that's meant to bring consciousness to relationship, recognizing that the space between us is actually a connection rather than a separation. This allowing for the space gives rise to new possibilities and potentialities when we bring attention to the relational field. It's open-ended. All speakers are equal. We listen. We reflect on what we hear and how we respond. And then the group collectively discovers new insights that couldn't have happened if we'd done this alone. So I'm going to invite the next 10 minutes to go where it wants to go. What arises here based on something you heard tonight, based on something in your heart right now, whatever wants to unfold in this next 10 minutes, let it unfold.
I'm going to raise my hand and jump right in. As a lifelong learner, I really value the opportunity to engage with everyone here. And when I'm in this space, I feel this, I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. And that's like the serendipity that so many circles in my life are intersecting, that it all doesn't make sense, but I know this is a really big part of it. And I am very grateful for it, and just the wisdom that's been passed on by so many people. And I haven't always been regular, but I just feel very grounded, and I'm in a community of like-minded people that are all on the cosmic path together, or the part of this cosmic story. And I guess what comes up for me is like a deep love, that love is one of the great mysteries, and maybe the universe, that's the universal language, is love. And I feel like everyone here has a love for something outside of this group too, but they bring that fullness with them. And again, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm, got a long way to go, I hope, and many more times perhaps, but I'm here now, and thank you all and for sharing your light.
I don't always speak at these, but I am going to share that the movie, I found it tremendously evocative of the song, and and it took me really, it took me more into the dark and the challenges to continue to see the light in everyone, everything, everyone. And I ended up writing a poem similar to a poem I wrote years and years ago about how, yeah, we all have Pinochet in us, and we all have, and and we all have Putin, and he and I share the very same birthday and year, and we all have I am not even going to say his name. And we all have the plastic that we put in the landfills. We have that in us. And we all have the starvation of the little children as I'm grabbing my full bread basket. We all have and their mothers. And so I don't know what this, and so then it reminded me earlier today, I was reading Valerie Carr, and she was writing about the sage warrior, and the sage must lead the warrior to see that there's no stranger, there's only shared humanity, so that the warrior doesn't seek vengeance, but rather reordering the world. Those were her words, reordering the world, which I have to think, Penny, comes up somehow in the systems. The universe is self-organizing, and when it perhaps now we know Earth is not in balance right now, and Mother Gaia is trying to communicate with us, and we are called to reorder ourselves first of all. That it took me in unexpected places. Thank you so much for tonight.
I am in awe and wonder that here in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the 12th of December and it's midday, and that our time zones are different and we are one. Our seasons are different and we are one. And what particularly is arising is watching with all of you the Water is Life, and seeing only First Peoples North America symbols and words, and immediately I could juxtapose First Peoples Australia there too. We are one.
I'd like to read a short poem by Rafael Jesus Gonzalez. The distance between us is holy ground, to be traversed feet bare, hands raised in joyous dance, so that once it is crossed, the tracks of our pilgrimage shine in the darkness, and light are coming together in a bright and steady glow.
Very nice. Thank you, Sylvia. Carol.
Loneliness is something that many of us might know on this path. And so the experience of being one, of being able to say we are one, even though we're, hemispheres apart, being able to, hear Bob say, this is my slogan, and clearly it represents everything that we're all here about, is sharing this light. But I think I wanted to be thankful for the mishmash that as Penny talked about it, this wonderful combination of ideas and so on that come together with such synchronicity. But more than that, I want to thank for the opportunity to gather with, our peeps, in one story, and no longer feel that we are on an ice floe. So it was wonderful the light just grew and grew and grew as people went away from the ritual and added their own ideas and hearts. Thank you for Cosmic Vespers in the totality of that.
Well, I think it's time for Marianne to sing us out. But sort of my, and this is a tough sell in the Unitarian crowd, my go-to catch-all phrase is borrowed from Einstein, and it is the one that says, there are two ways to see this world, as if one is as if none of it was a miracle, and the other is that it all is. And the more we know, the more miraculous it seems to grow. And my deepest prayer is that humanity, through it all, through the struggles, continues to learn to grow into who we are. And what a miracle of the universe we are. And then show its gratitude by loving it back to life. So our charge is in the universe story is to move from I to we. And in this spirit, we invite Marianne.
You should perhaps forget what I said during emergent dialogue, because this is on a different note. By the way, I think many of us probably know this. I must confess, I did not grow up with this song. And we're gonna sing it, and at same point, we're gonna change some lyrics. But let me just share this so you can see what, here we go. I've got it right there. And I can maybe make it big.
Pretty big right now.
All right. All right.
We don't see it all.
So that's the wrong one though. So I have to stop share and go back. I apologize. It's it's this one. This is the one I want. All right. Everything's good. This is what I want right there. Collaborate and let me pull you over. It's really sad when we talk to these little machines, isn't it? So I think you know this. I'm going to ask you to stay muted only because as much as I'd love to hear our voices together, it doesn't work on Zoom. It's hard to sing together on Zoom. At least I haven't learned how to do it yet. So if you, is there anybody who does not know this song? I don't see all the, looks like most folks do, and it certainly kind of fits with what we're doing this evening.
Yeah, I don't see any hands.
Okay. And we're going to change some of the words And then we're going to get down here with hours, and at some point, we'll do that. So, and Penny, if we need to cut it short, just give me a. All right. So this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Okay. I'm gonna keep it bright. Yeah. I'm gonna let it shine. This one. I'm gonna keep it bright. Yeah. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna keep it bright. Yeah. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. We're gonna spread it far. Yeah. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, we're gonna spread it far. We're gonna spread it far. We're gonna spread it far. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. How about ain't gonna let it dim? No, we're gonna let it shine. Ain't gonna let it dim. No, we're gonna let it shine. Ain't gonna let it dim. No, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Okay, this one is good. Ain't gonna it out. No, we're gonna let it shine. Ain't gonna it out. No, we're gonna let it shine. Ain't gonna it out. No,
No.
gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Stick with the plural. We're gonna watch it grow. Yes, we're gonna let it shine. We're gonna watch it grow. Yes,
Yes.
we're gonna let it shine. We're gonna watch it grow. Yes, gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. We, everywhere we go, we're gonna let it shine. Everywhere we go, we're gonna let it shine. We're everywhere we go. We're gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Okay. Take this light around the world. We're gonna let it shine. Take this light around the world. We're gonna let it shine. Take this light around the world. We're gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Last time. This little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne.
Oh, you're welcome.
If you still have your candle, and Cosmic Vespers will be back in March, I believe. So keep your connections strong. And then as Bob closes our meeting room for tonight, let's just blow out our candle. 1, 2, 3.
Mm. Happy holidays.